The central bank can either choose to fix the money supply and keep it constant at the chosen level, and in that case, let the interest rate be determined by equilibrium in the money market for the chosen value of it. Or the central bank can alternatively choose the interest rate which it wants the money market to clear and keep it constant at the chosen level by adjusting the money supply. So we want to look in detail how the central bank maintains an interest rate target. So the central bank keeps the interest rate constant at the chosen level by adjusting the money supply in response to any changes in money demand to ensure its chosen I stays consistent with equilibrium in the money market. Otherwise, there'll be pressure on it to change. Because we know if the interest rate that it chooses is not the interest rate that at which the money market clears, then there'd be pressure on it to change. And so it adjusts M to maintain money market equilibrium at the target interest rate whenever there's upward or downward pressure on the interest rate. It keeps the money supply curve intersecting the relevant money demand curve at its desired interest rate target. So in order to keep the interest rate at its chosen level, it adjusts the money supply. Let's illustrate this over here. So we can illustrate this in the money market diagram below, where we assume we initially start with equilibrium at 0.1 over here, with the interest rate at its target I bar. Now say money demand increases from MD1 to MD2. Now this puts a pressure on the interest rate to increase above I bar. With no action by the central bank, as money demand increases from MD1 to MD2, that would drive the interest rate up to I prime. If the central bank does not change the money supply curve, then we know if money demand increases from MD1 to MD2, the interest rate would increase to I prime. So now to keep I fixed at I bar, and the central bank will increase the money supply from MS1 to MS2 to accommodate the increase in money demand from MD1 to MD2. And this will offset the upward pressure in I, moving the money market equilibrium to 0.2. Because here, if we start at 1, money demand increases from MD1 to MD2. If the central bank does nothing and keeps the money supply fixed at MS1, the interest rate would increase to I prime. So to keep the interest rate at I bar, the central bank will increase money supply from MS1 to MS2, and that will move money market equilibrium to 0.2. Similarly, if money demand decreases from MD1 to MD3, there will be pressure on I to decrease from I bar. With no action by the central bank, the decrease in money demand from MD1 to MD2 would drive the interest rate down to I double prime, right? So if money supply stays fixed at MS1 and money demand goes down from MD1 to MD3, there will be pressure on interest rate to go down to I double prime. So to keep I fixed at I bar, the central bank would need to reduce the money supply from MS1 to MS3 to match the decrease in money demand from MD1 to MD3. And this will offset the downward pressure in I, moving the equilibrium to 0.3 so that interest rate stays fixed at its chosen level. Right, so if the central bank follows a policy of fixing the interest rate, then we know in the background the money supply is adjusting to accommodate any changes in demand. The central bank can't just announce the value of the interest rate and remain idle. Rather, it must take measures so that its chosen interest rate is consistent with equilibrium in the financial market. Otherwise, there'll be pressure on it to change. Because if you start at 1 and money demand increases, the central bank does nothing, there'll be pressure on interest rate to increase. If money demand decreases and the central bank does nothing, there'll be pressure on interest rate to fall. So it needs to adjust the money supply to ensure it's to maintain money market equilibrium at its chosen interest rate. So there's no pressure on the interest rate to change.